Hi, everyone. I'm a second year in the history department. I'm studying the Indus River Delta, 19th, 20th century Sindh. And my my summer project examined how indigenous Sindhi worldviews intersected with colonial statecraft and global knowledge circulation. So this summer, with rhythm support, I was able to focus on this one German missionary philologist called Ernst Trump, who fundamentally transformed the Sindhi language. Um, when the British conquered Sindh in 1843, they faced a problem. Was Sindhi even a language? They found multiple scripts, regional variations, texts blended in with Persian, Sanskrit, and without a proper written literature, what could they learn about Sindhi culture, civilization, or how to govern it? Um, Enter Ernst Trump, the leading authority on Sindhi at the time, leading European authority, I might add. Um, in 1866, Trump published the first printed Sindhi text, or the first one that stabilized the script for Sindhi into a Persian script, the Shajo Risalo, the collected works of mystical Sufi poet Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai, funded by the British colonial government for officers learning to administer Sindh. This book changed how Sindhi was written, read, and understood forever. But to make Sindhi legible, Trump had to fix what was fluid. Trump collected oral performances and conflicting manuscripts to produce a standardized text. Bhittai's poetry was traditionally narrated in 30 surs. Um, Trump published 26. The poet composed in the Lari dialect. Trump standardized Sindhi using the Vicholo dialect. This wasn't editing, it was epistemological hubris, characteristic of 19th century philology, as many of us are already familiar as well. So, what I or my research tentatively argues so far, because this summer ended up raising more questions than answers, um, is that German Indology's shift from traditional Orientalism was a methodological upgrade in colonial knowledge production. While Orientalism treated texts as windows into exotic cultures, Indology made producing, standardizing, and classifying texts the end goal itself. Trump didn't just translate Bhitai or edit Bhitai's work, he created the very category of Sindhi literature as colonial officers needed to understand it. Indology's focus on vernaculars enabled a deeper colonial penetration. You can't administer a province if you don't standardize the language first. And every Thursday, still, what was lost is present. If we could please play the sound. Every Thursday, musicians gather. I'm sorry, this is only 10 seconds. You're very welcome to go look. It usually goes for more than 12 hours. So every Thursday, they continue to gather and perform Bhitai at his shrine in Bhicha. They embody what Trump's printed text cannot: the performative dimensions, the regional variations, the Sufi cosmology, linking humanity, nature, and the sovereign in ways that resist colonial classification. And here we are at the paradox then. After finally receiving a chair at Munich after waiting at Tübingen, to your point on jobs, for many decades, Trump died in relative obscurity in 1885, having received the chair a year or two before, because he was also, I won't get into this, there's no time. Yet in 2016, the government of Sindh posthumously awarded him the Latif Award, the highest honor named for Bhitai himself. This paradox haunts my research. Trump preserved what might have been lost, even as he fundamentally transformed it. His work enabled both colonial domination and later Sindhi cultural nationalism. As we face contemporary demands that indigenous knowledges fill gaps left by the climate crisis or epistemic crises, Trump's story asks us, can we learn from indigenous worlds without fixing, standardizing, and ultimately domesticating them into our own frameworks for legibility? And that question continues to guide my research. Thank you.
Was he an unapologetic supporter of British colonialism? In other words, was his effort to standardize language, an ambivalent effort to solidify colonial authority?
I would tend to say yes, absolutely. So the way that he ends up in India, or as many missionaries like him end up in India, are through the Church Missionary Society. The Church Missionary Society gets written into the 1833 charter that's given to the East India Company. So the aims, aspirations, and sort of even if one is to follow the money as well, or the state validation, it would tend to suggest so. Thank you.